Shooting with one hand, is it something you practice? Can you do it effectively with either hand? Today we're going to discuss why it's important to be able to use your gun with just one hand. To drive that home, we're going to cover the situations where that may be the only way to employ your weapon. So let's get to it. Hey, you scallywags, welcome to another episode of our podcast, A Pirate Talks Guns. I'm your host, John Cello. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. The last time you went to the range and trained, you shot all the drills you had planned with both hands on your gun, didn't you? Now, I'm not out to shame anyone here, as that's how I trained the vast majority of the time. That's the way you're supposed to shoot a handgun. Having both hands on the gun gives you a more stable platform and helps minimize muzzle rise. So shooting with both hands on the gun doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It's how you should shoot whenever the opportunity presents itself. Now, having to run your gun one-handed may be a necessity. If you've never heard of the Miami shootout, it involved FBI agents in a murderous gun battle with two bank robbers. During the course of the battle, which lasted all of 5 minutes, 2 agents were killed and 5 were seriously wounded. One of the wounded, Edmundo Morales, was injured in his left arm, and though injured, he was able to empty the 5 rounds in his 12-gauge shotgun and fire 6 rounds from his .357 revolver, killing the 2 bank robbers. He did this one-handed. I put a link to the full story in the show notes for you. Now remember, you're still in the fight until you're dead. If Agent Morales had given up simply because he was wounded, the 2 bad guys would have killed all the agents on scene that day. So maybe learning to shoot one-handed is kind of important. And if you're a concealed carry permit holder and you're carrying a gun to defend yourself, you may encounter situations where you just don't have 2 free hands. Now it goes without saying that you should always keep your dominant hand free whenever possible. That's usually easy to do if you maintain your defensive mindset and situational awareness. Now, for instance, instead of filling both hands with bags when you're done shopping, use a cart to transport your purchases to your vehicle. This will leave both hands free and give you a shopping cart you can use to get some standoff distance should the need arise. If you're carrying something with both hands, be prepared to drop whatever it is when danger comes a-calling to get in the fight. It's better to be alive to be able to replace the eggs and gallon of milk that just splattered all over the ground than to try and protect that purchase, right? You need to actually practice this. Run drills with something in your hands that won't be damaged by being dropped. What you're wanting to accomplish here is just letting go of whatever you have in your hands and getting your gun up. You don't want to give what you're carrying any consideration at all, just drop it. When I was in law enforcement, we practiced by holding our ticket book and a pen in our hands. Whatever it may be, when the balloon goes up, it's just an impediment to getting your gun on target. But what if you're carrying something that can't be dropped, like a child? What if your arm is injured, you're fighting off an attacker, or some other reason you only have one hand available? What if that hand is your non-dominant hand? If you're carrying to defend yourself or others, you have to be prepared to do so one-handed. I'm going to give you a path to proficiency with some drills. Now, if you've never shot one-handed before, start with dry fire, preferably with a laser trainer if you have one available. Start by getting a good firing grip on your gun as you normally would, but you stop where you'd bring your support hand to bear. Because you're only going to have one hand on the gun, make sure your grip is perfect. You want to have your hand as high up on the gun as you can get it, with the beaver tail or top of the grip if you're shooting a revolver in the web between your thumb and trigger finger. Keep your thumb along the frame pointing at the target. Your support hand should be just below your neck with your support arm against your chest. Bring the gun up, aim, and fire. Everything is the same as normal dry fire practice. You're just not using your support hand. And don't forget your non-dominant hand. Run the same process. Yeah, it's going to feel a little weird at first, but like anything else, it gets better with practice. When you get to the live fire stage of your training, your grip is going to be very important, so put in the work to get it right now. Holding the gun in your non-dominant hand isn't intuitive as using your dominant hand, so concentrate on that grip. But once you get a feel for aiming one-handed, introduce the draw into your training. Start the way you normally carry, with the holster and clothing you use, and your gun concealed. Clear your cover garment, get a good firing grip on the gun, clear the holster, and press out while bringing your support arm to your chest at the same time. When you have your shots hitting where you want them to, it's time to head to the range and start shooting one-handed live. If you have a .22 pistol, it's best to start your journey into one-hand shooting with it. Lacking a .22, use the least recoil-producing rounds your guns will reliably function with. The object here is to master the skill before you amp up your training with full house loads. If you've never shot one-handed before and haven't experienced how the gun moves in your hand, it's going to take some getting used to. There's going to be a good bit more muzzle rise and torque to the side than you're used to. Don't let this scare you off. With practice, you'll be able to effectively control it. I've shot double taps with a 500 Smith & Wesson mag one-handed and lived to tell the tale. Let's take a quick break so I can introduce you to a great photo and video service. Hey Anderson area, are you a realtor wanting to showcase your properties with video? Having a wedding or other special event you need photos of? Need a voiceover for commercials or your office phone system? If you're in the Anderson area, look no further than the LochLaur Production Group. This full-service audio and video production company has the tools and experience that will give you the product you need. Be it still photography, video, or drone photography or video, you'll be amazed at the results they provide. Again, that's the LochLaur Production Group. Contact details are in the show notes. Give them a call today at 864-245-1956. Once you're at the range, set a target 3 yards away, and from the low ready position, bring your gun up, aim, and fire one round. Don't try to hurry at this point. There's no timer or bad guy for you to beat. Once you get comfortable with this and your shots are going where you want them to, introduce drawing from the holster without your cover garment into the drill. Again, be sure you get a good firing grip on the gun at the draw, clear your holster, aim, and fire one round. When you're consistently getting a good firing grip and putting shots where they need to go, start shooting 2 rounds at the target. From there, progress to failure drills, 2 to the body and 1 to the head. Now when this is smooth and natural feeling, go ahead and put your cover garment on. Go back to 1 round per draw until you get used to clearing your garment. Then move on to 2 rounds and the failure drill. Now don't hurry this process. You want it to develop so that your motions are smooth. Alright, you got it? Awesome. Now start all over again with the gun in your non-dominant hand. Start with the presentation from low ready, firing 1 round, then 2, then the failure drill. Moving to the next one only when your accuracy is consistent. Drawing and clearing your cover garment using only your weak hand is something you're going to practice through dry fire. It's highly recommended to have an instructor present for this, as well as non-dominant hand draw live fire. Depending on where you wear your carry gun, getting to it with your non-dominant hand may not be possible. It'll be up to you to determine if you need to rethink your carry position. As humans, we're creatures of comfort. We only want to do what we're good at so that we feel good. If you've never shot one-handed before, well, you're not going to feel good at first. You may suck pretty bad. Standing flat-footed on a range and shooting nice tight groups two-handed may make you feel good, but it's like voting libertarian. It might make you feel better, but in reality, you've actually accomplished jack and shit for training. With practice, you'll master the skill of one-hand shooting just like you did all the other shooting-related ones. And being able to defend yourself with one hand may save your life someday. Remember, nothing ever goes exactly as planned, so the more tools you have in your toolbox, the better prepared you'll be to handle what the universe flings at you. Put a little diversity in your range training. Gunfights are rarely the meet you in the middle of the street at high noon type. There's always going to be some weirdness involved, so the more weirdness you introduce into your training, keeping safety at the forefront of course, the more prepared you'll be to function in different scenarios. Might try practice while holding something heavy in your support hand just to throw you off balance a little bit. Well, hopefully today's episode has convinced you to add one-handed shooting to your training routine. Again, approach it methodically and most importantly, safely. It's always best to have an instructor teach you new skills that up the danger level a little bit. We're offering an NRA Basic Pistol class Saturday, November 26th. You can register for this class at shootingclasses.com. I'll put the registration link in the show notes. Visit our website at tacticalpirate.com to see what classes we have coming up in the future. We'll have the 2023 schedule out in a few weeks. And as always, if you enjoyed this podcast, consider letting one of your like-minded friends know about it. We're listed in all the major podcast directories, or you can listen on our website. Until next time, shoot safe, be safe, and have a great Thanksgiving.